It is an absolute pleasure that we've had the ability to get together today, because I am dying to know where you are now and where you perceive you want to go next.
Give it up, gonna be all that's gonna be. Give it up, gonna be all right.
So when you filled out the questionnaire before you came here, some of the key questions was, where are you? Who are you today? And if we were to step in to one-on-one work together, where do you perceive you would be 90 days from now? What goal would be in motion? So let me have you tell me that.
Well, thank you. It's very rare you get asked a question that people want an answer to anymore. Because people ask you questions that penetrate and then walk off.
No. I want.
No, not you. I'm just saying it. I'm just laughing because it's just like, wow, this is actually a real question.
This is a real question.
Okay.
Yep.
So where do I begin?
Tell me when you were first inspired to go into the field you're in right now.
Initially, when I started to find myself, I found myself because I was listening to what people needed.
Okay.
My mother wanted to get massages after she came home from work, which I completely understand.
Oh.
My brothers would never volunteer and never want to be bothered about that. But for me, it was my pleasure. It just made sense.
So as a very young person, you started doing, was it foot massages, body massages?
It started with feet.
Started with feet. Did your mom have a job where she stood all day?
Yes, my mother was in finance. She ran a big account for J.P. Morgan years ago. And we kind of been there through our whole journey. So for me, I just wanted to be able to give back something because that was the best I could do at the time. And it was the least I could do.
Knowing that was, honestly, you remind me, having that origin, the way so many great chefs will speak about being at the side of their mothers or grandmothers. And I know I've got a daughter who is quite an accomplished, she is an organic chef. And one of the gifts she did to my mother for my mom's 80th birthday was a cookbook of all of the recipes. When something starts with that origin, where the origin of the inspiration of what you're doing today is so pure and connected to something so good, to me that says that it has a natural part of who you are and what you want to do as you go forward. So that's just something that I always listen for. It wasn't that you had a mother who said you have to do this because it's the only way you can make money. Mm-hmm. This was about you being of service, connecting at a love level, and then moving forward. And great chefs do it. You can hear people who have doctors in their families, the same type of thing. They saw them heal others, or the gratification when someone was healed and they wanted to step into that. So that's a pretty cool place for you to have begun.
It felt good. It did. It still feels good. It's the first thing I usually think of before I ever work or help someone, because the first thing I think about is someone's going through something. They really want to get things to feel better, and they're trusting me with it.
Right.
And this started with my mom's feet.
Do you know, in the work in positive psychology, it centers around positive emotions and how to bring up, love is the all-encompassing positive emotion, where it has everything from sincerity and awe and humor. It has so many things that come into what the feeling of love is. And when I work with someone, through the course of whatever their career is, they are looking for, where do the positive emotions, when am I doing whatever it is I'm doing in my day that naturally positive emotions are raising you up. In the pop literature, you talk about vibrations and energetic vibrations. I can have that conversation, but the truth is, I sit in a place that says the science shows me, the science of positive emotion shows it to me. And it's much easier for me to explain in a broader market, where do these feelings come from? And you've pictured it. So you are doing something that I would actually suggest someone do as they begin their work. Wow. Call in the thing that raises you up. how do you get those positive emotions going so that you can then start your work with someone else from that same level? You naturally did the exercise. You're a whole exercise ahead. We don't have to do that exercise. You know how to do it. You know how to do that exercise. Yes, yes. You didn't just happen by me. You obviously have a career that you were inspired into for very pure reasons, and that's great. Where are you now that I'm assuming we're having this conversation because there's an
evolution.
What's happening?
The evolution started now is because I'm so connected with people. I just want to see people be able to be the best version of themselves.
Okay.
And I think I have an ability to take really complicated information and make it palatable.
Okay.
For everyone.
What do you mean by that?
Like where everyone will understand it, because everyone doesn't understand every conversation, and everybody hears things differently.
What kind of information?
Any information to make themselves better. Most of the things we're looking for is trying to find ourselves through the external. And what we're really trying to find out is who we are and what we present.
Correct.
So just helping people find themselves inside.
Okay. Talk to me about how you believe you want to do that going forward.
I would like to do that going forward by listening.
Okay.
Because people usually have great ideas already. It's just they're so jumbled that no one's really listening to them. They're waiting to say something. So a conversation becomes a debate rather than a conversation. So if you can listen and let a person get their thoughts out, then they can start dissecting exactly what goes where. Because the answer's already there. It's just that you're missing it because there's so much going on.
Okay. Where do you want to take your talents next? What's the it?
I would want to be on a canvas where I could really be myself and get the most value out of what I do while I'm helping others be the best versions of themselves.
Okay, so the line that I use in my own business, and I am my business, is the least amount of time for the most amount of money.
Yes.
Okay, and whenever, and especially as we're evolving our economy, people like ourselves who are sole entrepreneurs, where the likelihood is we will have a complete team of who supports our businesses, but we are our business. It is really critical that, in fact, you have the foundation of who am I helping, why, and when, so that you spend your time in your business in the places that gets the most results for the people you work with, because you'll be the happiest, and in turn that will then give you the highest return on your investment for your time and knowledge. Okay, so I get where you're going with that. Where I am unclear, and I think you are unclear at this moment, is you think that what you're doing today, the gift you've developed today, is not that place. That there is a better place to do that than where you are. And I need to understand why you think that the grass is greener there instead of here.
This conversation is very familiar. This is a deja vu moment, actually. I have this. Wow.
Okay,
Sorry.
so tell me.
I don't really. It's woven into my fabric. Like, it's just, I guess I've been trying to explore other talents that I'm capable of without really spending the time necessary on the one talent that matters the most.
Which is?
Healing.
Okay. You know, when we first met today, you described yourself in part as a healer, as one of the very first things. And then I asked, are you trained in certain modalities? So tell me again the modalities you were trained in.
Petrissage, effleurage, deep tissue, sports massage, rolfing, reflexology, hydrotherapy. There's actually a few more there.
And you actually went to formal trainings for all of those modalities?
Yeah, it was all within.
All part of that.
Yeah, I actually even our final in school was on a full actual human cadaver, and it was just pens in there, so we just had to.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things when someone, because I hear that you want to try and place your energies elsewhere, and one of the things that I do initially in work with everyone is make sure they're grounded where they are and they're not running away from where they are until they've hit their full potential there, and that they're not thinking that over here, as I said, the grass is greener, that they've really brought out what it is from where they are that they can take with them into the next area. So one of the things I want to, you said that you can break down information and make a lot of information very understandable for people, and that and these are my words. In psychology, we tend to be resistant to that information that we are not ready for when it comes to what we should do differently than we're doing for ourselves right now. That's the only should that's really valid. That the one that, wow, as you and I had a conversation about me being a very active, energetic person and have a devoted exercise plan, but I do not stretch. For 40 years, I have known that I am supposed to stretch, and I don't stretch. Okay, that's resistance on my part. My totally refusing. You can look on my calendar for the next year, and at a minimum, my 2 training appointments every week is on my calendar already. You will not find a stretching appointment there. That's resistance, okay? But I know it, okay? I would much prefer to pay someone with your talent once a month. I tried not to be like really broken down completely before I do it. I'm getting better in that regard. But I must say that I would prefer to have a massage than actually stretch every day. So I know what the trade-off is. But what's important for me in the helping professions, when someone comes and they say that they want to expand, one of the things that I know about the work that I do is that there is a very low, in the commercial segment, there's a very low barrier to entry. And what I have discerned as a business person is the lower the barrier to entry, the higher I need to raise my standard, so that there is a clear differentiation between what you will offer to people that you work with at your next level. And no one will be confused that you were a massage therapist who just got full of themselves and thought that they knew everything. In my business, many people confuse what I do with having a good friend. I wish I could have friends that do what I do. It is not just listening, it's knowing what to listen for. You had said that touch was such an important, and it's the one thing you can't teach. That's the difference when you step into the next level of connecting the psychology of what someone's doing. So I'll bring it back to you. You know what you do really well. Is there something you're running away from? Is there some frustration with the way you're running your business today that you think is mysteriously going to vanish if you shift your focus?
No, I just feel like there is a better way to do it, but I can't really grasp what it is that my perfect niche is to be able to express myself on a perfect canvas, because I have so much to offer and there's so much value that is literally connected through the healing aspect, that I don't know how to speak to every facet of it and be pure within the delivery while being the best version of myself in the process.
Okay. So number one, I'm going to tell you that takes time. What you've done, what I hear you saying is that you've got an itch. You want to expand your knowledge and experience to focus on what you've already started with, but broaden it so that the message goes deeper and you reach a larger audience with it.
Yes, ma'am.
I know in this book I have the 3 F's: focus, follow up, and follow through. And what that is...
That's a great cover.
Thanks. I know that girl. Hello there.
Hello.
What the 3 F's are, it's really the most critical, and they never get finished. They are the 3 F's that you apply every time that itch begins. instead of trying to figure out the whole canvas and what this all looks like,
Sounds familiar.
okay, take one piece of it. That's why when we start working together, it's about 90 days. It's not about 9 years from now where you're going to be. It's not about this. It is about take one thing, focus deeply on it, set a goal towards it, put in action, put in knowledge, see what you want it, or disregard it, because that's valuable also. Knocking stuff off the list is as important as what you build onto it. But each time it feels like the canvas is so big you don't know where to start, all you have to do is focus on one thing. Like in my business, I will tell you that because I've worked one-on-one for 30 years with people, stepping into the online community over the last 10 years, I have made the same mistake. And the mistake is I don't collect email addresses. And for me, at this moment, I may have untold years of knowledge and experience, but in order to broaden my market, I have to have email addresses. So although I keep being tempted to do 10,000 other things, and I do maybe 5,000 of them, the top one on my list, and it will not come off my list until some very small hurdles are crossed, that's how I'm going to get that done. I have to do the same stuff for myself. So that's what I will ask you to do initially. You have said several times in this brief conversation, this sounds familiar. You used the term deja vu. What I would ask you to do tonight, when you are totally relaxed, is make a list of all those things you already know that you haven't yet taken action on. And then pick one to start with.
Give it up, gonna be alright, gonna be